Hi there, this video is to show changes that we've made recently to the new business and the new employee wizards. It's just enhancements really. Functionality is exactly the same, but let's get started and I'll go through the changes as we go along. So in terms of adding a new business, this page here, there haven't been any changes. I'll go through the fields as we go just to remind you. With the brand field, you need to select from any brand that you currently have access to according to your user type. You need to make sure that you choose carefully. Once it's under a specific brand, it can't be changed. We'll just use any name for the purposes of this video. Need to enter, let's just do a random address and the next step. So again, no changes at all to this page. This next page, the contact details, no changes, just contains the contact name, email address, and phone number of the person that is best placed to be the contact person for the business. This last page, no details. It's your usual fields of the standard work hours per day, when your work week starts and ends, how often you do pay runs. The standard work hours per day is what we use as a default when calculating leave and such. Obviously, you can change the hours on a per employee basis if need be. If you're wanting to add an award to your business, you tick yes. Here's a list of all the awards that we have. Let's just tick a random one so that we have an award for down the track when we're adding an employee. This is an optional field if you'd like to select the industry that your business belongs to and a promo code if that's relevant. We'll go ahead and create the business now. This last page is where we've made a couple of enhancements. So this dialog text box here is new. And also the second addition to this page is this add employee button. Prior to the enhancements, the only option was to go to the dashboard. And so therefore, if you were wanting to add an employee, you had to go back to the dashboard first and then go to the add employee wizard from there. With this change, we can just tick the add employee button and go straight into it from here. So if we select to add an employee, if we just quickly add an employee here, we'll add some details. I'll add an email address. We'll skip the mobile phone for the moment. The employee notifications will stick to email. Self-service can be on. There's no changes at all to this page. With the employment details, we've made a couple of changes here in terms of the grouping of the fields. Again, functionality is still the same and the options are still the same. So back when we selected an award for our business, this is why we now have this field here to be able to select an award. We added the aged care award. So I'll do a quick run through using an award and then we'll go back and remove the award and then we'll have a look from there. So the aged care award means that we then need to select an employment agreement. Once you select an employment agreement, these two fields will pre-fill according to the employment agreement that you've selected. That happened before the changes, but if we scroll down now, you'll also see that it also adds the employment type as casual and the primary pay category is casual ordinary hours. It will automatically pre-fill those spots now. In terms of the groupings as well, you'll notice that employment type, primary pay category, and the leave allowance template are now grouped together. Before they weren't. We made the decision to group them together. It makes more sense because one impacts the other, so it makes more sense to have them together. If we scroll up now and remove the award, remove the pay rate template, remove the rule set, and pretend that the employee now is not on an award, let's just go ahead and select the start date. The primary location, we'll select the pay schedule. We can select timesheets, that's fine for this purpose. Now with the employment type, it's on casual because we selected the award for the first go round. If we change this now to full-time, you'll notice that the primary pay category also changes to permanent hours, and the leave allowance template changes to permanent leave based on our selection here for the employment type. That's a new enhancement to make things a bit clearer and easier for users. If we go back and change it to casual, you'll notice that the two fields, the pay category and the leave allowance template, also changes back to the casual options. It will do that for part-time as well, change it to permanent, ordinary hours and permanent leave. For labour hire and superstream income, they're still manual options and up to the user to select what suits the scenario. The next change on this page is the addition of these "what's this" icons here. These are really detailed information boxes in order to help the user make a more informed decision. So the employment type information box will go through each of the employment types in detail, same as the primary pay category and the leave allowance template. That's it for this page in terms of changes. So we can go ahead and tick next to go to the banking and super. Now on the banking and super page, the only change is within the information box. The information box has always been there, but we've got this first paragraph here, and also a small design change with the notes field at the bottom, although the information provided is exactly the same. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to the next page, the tax file declaration page. Just a couple of changes here. So the ATO TFN declaration form link on the right has had a design change, but it links to exactly the same ATO page that it did before. The tax file number field is exactly the same. The next section here that says I don't have a tax file number for this employee, slight change with the addition of a checkbox. Before we didn't have a checkbox there, it was just highlighted. Wasn't super clear to a user that they could tick on it in order to see more options. But now if it does apply, it's very clear you can tick the checkbox here and then get access to the drop-down box in order to select the scenario that best suits. The previous surname is exactly the same. The tax calculation options field, a couple of changes here in that now the user will see all of the options available, although the system will still by default tick the top two options. And we have added a label now to point out that these are the most common options, and that's why they've been ticked. Prior to this, the system would still tick those first two options, but in order for the user to see any of the other options, they had to tick a pencil edit icon, whereas now they see them all at the start. The next two fields, the date signed and the lodge with ATO, they're exactly the same. So we can go ahead and click done, and that will finish the employee setup. And this last page is the same. You can tick to go to the employee's details, or you can select to add another employee, or the home button, which will take you back to the business dashboard. So there you go, just a quick roundup of the enhancements that we've made to the new business and new employee wizards.